Very excited. Should we do some technicals?
Yeah, let's start them.
You want to go Dixie first, and then I'll do some BTC.
Yeah, do you want me to just pull up their Forex back
Oh
then?
yeah, let's do a quick lowdown.
Yeah,
The
quite a bit coming up this week.
last week, obviously, First Republic Bank hasn't had the best time. Stock was halted multiple times. They've lost significant value. I think the stock right now is trading at about $3.5. And like if we look 6 months ago, in 3rd of March, that was trading at just about $125, $123. So from the 3rd of March to lose that much value it's insane. And there doesn't look like there's any sort of bailout structure. So it's interesting to see how they're going to control this. We've had Kramer come out and say that he thinks First Republic Bank is the end of the banking crisis. So that's a good sign that it's just the beginning.
Yeah. Just got going and
yeah, we're just warming up. And I think what was interesting was like in the last week, there's been a lot of discussion about how the issues that are now coming up are issues that have been there since 2007, 2008 from the financial crisis. All we did then when we went into this sort of money print, this QE cycle, was put a Band-Aid. And now we're at a point where I guess we have to put another Band-Aid on through another QE cycle, but it will be to the detriment of everyone globally. And it will be more or less, it will be the US solidifying the end of their economy.
It's only so long they can keep putting Band-Aids on, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
Something's got to give. Yeah, we see quite a bit of fundamentals coming up this week. Once to pay attention to ISM and PMI. It looks coming in a little bit higher, not much though. Same with ISM manufacturing prices. We've got JOLTS job opening on Tuesday, which is predicted to come in lower. This is usually a big mover in the market, but it's only forecast to come in a little bit lower. He's after there. Keep an eye on that on Tuesday. Got non-farm employment. It's set to come in higher, so we've got some conflicting fundamentals. ISM service PMI predicted to come in a little bit higher, not major. We've got an FOMC statement on Wednesday, May 3rd, and the federal funds rate. 25 basis points prediction. What do you reckon on that, Adam?
I think we're not getting the contraction. And I think if we were to think about the phone call, I don't know if there's any fact to this sort of prank phone call that the Russians did.
Yeah, you mentioned it twice, didn't he?
Yeah, look, he said 2 rate hikes of 25 bips. Like, if he was serious or he knew, and this is just some more sort of media psyop, who's to say? But I think we're not getting any contraction. Inflation is still high, if not more than this. So I do think we're going to go up, and the markets are starting to price that in as well.
Yeah, see some sideways action until Wednesday, but possibly.
That's huge. This will be a big move.
Yeah, it's Wednesdays. That's what I mean. It's probably going to be with these conflicting fundamentals coming out. Depending on the actual numbers that come out, we could be see a bit of sideways action until Wednesday. This FOMC statement, federal funds rate, FOMC press conference. We've got the day after on the Thursday. We've got the unemployment claims set to come in higher. And then on the Friday, average hourly earnings month on month, non-farm employment and unemployment rate. So we got some big fundamentals coming in this week, Wednesday. Definitely to pay attention to Wednesday.
One thing that I think is quite interesting was FEMA. This is the Fed's Foreign and International Monetary Authority, and they've essentially, they provide short-term lending to foreign central banks. And there's been a lot of talk about a lot of international countries struggling with dollar liquidity, and their repo facility dropped from $20 billion to $0, which is showing that that countries aren't needing dollar liquidity. So it's interesting to see that maybe we're at a point that what we're seeing with yuan dominance and the ability to trade with the Indian rupee, with the Vosco, how that US dollar dominance has already fallen. So
The viable alternatives now, isn't there? There's like legitimate alternatives to the US dollar at the minute. So it's not just it's not just something happening that short term. It is some big change happening.
Look, there's no reason why all of these currencies, they sit in a basket, and the IMF and the the World Bank uses this basket called SDR, and that holds the currencies for dollar, euro, GBP, bonds in there as well. So in this basket, it's essentially to provide an index rate. So if the World Bank is funding projects, they're able to control the currency. And essentially, there's no reason why we can't use any single one of the currencies that sit in that basket. It's pegged and floated within an index.
Yeah, it's interesting times. It's definitely seeing the US dollar lose its balance. Especially, obviously, got Joe Biden going, mentioning the election as well, and got all the got to see all that political side come out, haven't we? The lefty, the right, once we start seeing elections come up.
So we've got the Dixie here.
You have a coffee? Yeah, sorry, let's jump into the Dixie. Not been under the weather today, mate. You can tell.
Oh, sorry to hear.
Just me being a pussy. On the monthly, we've got the monthly closure this weekend. So we've got prices broken below this neckline. We've been keeping an eye on the monthly, but not really convincing. Because we've got the big wick to the downside also. So it's that major level of support of the 101 is still holding on the Dixie at the minute for the monthly closure. We go down to the weekly.
We've raised that 101 a few times as a major level. So you can see, just look at the amount of volume there is buying up those wicks around that level.
Yeah, we're seeing price. It's holding that area very well. Like I say, we got this fall and trend line that we've been keeping an eye on the weekly. See, on the last week, we had this indecision candle. Then we've opened up the previous week, the next week after that, sorry. A lot of buyers exhaustion at this neckline that we've mentioned. And then last week, a lot of indecision in the market. See that doji, but like we mentioned, previous week's technicals, we had this trend line as well. So we've got this falling wedge. Let's go down into the daily. Once again, price is respecting this trend line. It's also trading below the neckline as well. So we could see price maintaining this downward move and then breaking below this 101. If we do see that break below the 101 area, then as mentioned before, we've got this area of pretty much free fall. So at the minute, we're just waiting to see what price does, whether we can come up, retest these areas at around 103,500 that we've been mentioning, or whether we price maintain below this trend line and then close below this neckline, we get the confirmation of the head and shoulders on the monthly, and then we see price break below the 101 to make this clean move to the downside. Obviously, as mentioned, fundamentals, we're waiting for fundamentals this week. So we could see price consolidating in this area before we see a move to the downside. Just say, wait on fundamentals this week.
And I think we'll see that those fundamentals this week are going to bring a hell of a lot of volatility to the market.
Yeah, and you can see that with the usually when we see this squeeze, we usually see a big breakout, don't we?
Yeah, so it's very timely. And this is where I've always say is if you were to actually map how many days that is, it'll probably line up very strategically with the date of the Fed meeting. So is it FA or TA? Or is this all a simulation? Like the way those two are synchronizing that.
Yeah, it all starts that, like you say, it all comes together. No matter if you're a fundamental analysis, say that, or technical, like you say, it does start to coincide here, and then we'll get the news and we'll get the big breakout at the same time.
And that's more or less it's a constant pattern that I see, and it's the challenge in my head is it all FA or is it TA? And my personal belief is it actually comes down to TA every time.
Yeah, it's like when you look at indicators,
or it's a simulation.
Yeah, I believe it's simulation. It's like the same with indicators, in it. You can use a plethora of indicators. A lot of traders use different indicators, but a lot of them display the same metrics. So it's like you say in there, it's like technical analysis, fundamental analysis, both just display the same metrics, but yeah, it's a simulation.
Well, it almost has to be. It's like, why would it make sense? It's almost as if the Fed looks at the TA and says, yeah, that's where the breakout is. That's when we announce the news. So that's where we schedule it in our calendar, because this is where it's just too synchronized. Like, it's spooky to me. It's spooky.
We spoke about this before. I think like news outlets have a lot of negative and positive news just on the ready. So as soon as these like things get announced, they can control the market with different stories. And it's interesting because obviously it doesn't matter which way the retail investors think it's going to go. It's always in the hands of these market makers, isn't it? And the news are obviously.
That's why, like we always say, don't trade fundamentals. Trade when you don't have major events going on. Because if anyone's announcing something, they're only announcing it because that's something they want you to know, whether it be a press release in a media article. If I see a press release, and there's various forms of media that are used for these sort of generic releases and I just think of short sellers, or these are hedge funds pushing a narrative to look for exit liquidity. And retail investors don't see that. They see they think the news is there, it's information, it's there to help them. No one in this world is here to help you.
Only the mesh. Trading the link below.
Well, make it all way.
It's true, though. Obviously, we provide an infrastructure that supports one another, but everyone at the end of the day is in a competitive environment and looking for an edge over one another.
Oh, definitely.
To go. Well, that's S&P.
Should we look at S&P, because I'm also enjoying some chicken right now. So
yeah, so if we look at the monthly closure, very bullish on S&P this month. We got the big closure to the upside, but we've also got the wick to the downside as well. Suggesting a lot of buyers in the market at the minute. So monthly closures look very bullish. We got a nice bullish structure on the weekly as well. Say the previous week we closed out that massive wick to the downside. It's like we've come down and we tested that weekly structure point down here, and then pulled right the way back up and closed above this weekly structure point. Nice bullish structure on S&P at the minute. Just hold that in.
Yeah, breaking up above that weekly resistance, and you can see there's a very small wick there as well. So it wants to be up there. And
yeah, you can see that area as well. It's been offering a lot of resistance, and then like you say in there, there's almost no wick, so it's ripped through that area.
And events like the First Republic, they just really provide a lot of weakness to the dollar, and that's why we start to see people move back into assets that actually have more value.
Yeah, the S&P's been doing quite well the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're getting higher lows, and I think we had that just in May. Was that a few days ago where we almost broke the low, but we've recovered quite quickly to produce a higher high.
Yeah, it's broken above this structure as well on this weekly structure. It's maintaining above that as well, which is good for the S&P. If we look on the daily, So I've been paying attention to this 4160 all the way down to the 4087 area. It's like a big range that S&P's been trading in. As you can see, we've been holding them highs, and their prices ripped down, broken through all of these lows, grab liquidity, and it's come up to retest them. It hasn't established resistance there. It's just come down, grab liquidity towards that weekly structure point that we mentioned. You can see that it needed to do a similar move to that, as you can see there. There's a lot of gaps in the market. We got that big bullish move. Excuse me. We got that consolidation around that area. That price pulled back, retested that weekly structure point, grabbed liquidity, and then moved to the upside, ripping through all of these zones. And then we're now trading above the 4160 area, which I'd like to see 4160 establish support. We've seen this nice clean Mariboso candle to the upside, and then
That is a
establish support.
beautiful Mariboso candle.
Yeah, I'm only saying it once this time. That's it.
What is it? What is it?
Bullish candle. a nice bullish candle. They've got a 4160 area established.
Have we got any price gaps there that might look to be filled? Obviously, we've had a bigger.
Yeah, but we've got. You can go down to the 1 hour. We've got. See that nice little wick there? We've got. See, this makes a nice clean structure. We've got a gap down at 41285. We have got a lot of gap to the downside, but as we're mentioning now with the fundamentals this week, we could see S&P pull back and start to consolidate in that range until possibly Wednesday that we were mentioning. Let's have a look at the data again. Yeah, I'd like to see 4160 establish support and then take longs from the break of these highs here after establishing support on the 4160. But I see the S&P pulling back inside that range, possibly pulling back into that range and consolidating before we could even pull back, depending on what happens with fundamentals this week. Yeah, I'd like to see the S&P maintain price above 4160, establish support, and then move to the upside. Because we've got these big moves that occurred. Once we saw a price break above the 4160 area, you can see we've established resistance at 4160. This was like last year, but obviously the same important level. We've established resistance, and then once price did manage to break through, we got a big move to the upside all the way to 4.3. Yeah, all the way to 4300, sorry, before pulling back inside that range. As we see 4160 maintaining resistance. Now we've broken above. We could potentially see a bigger move to the upside, as we have seen in the past, or with fundamentals, as we mentioned this week, that we could pull back inside this range before that happens. Or depending on those fundamentals, we pull it back inside this range and then pull down to grab liquidity from down here, or maybe flip bearish. Obviously, we have to wait to adapt and react to the fundamentals. Yeah. Anything else with that on?
Yeah, I can see what. I actually think we might be entering some bullish territory here.
It looks
And it's an interesting thing, because if we were going through, if it was a normal QT cycle, I would expect that these stocks would still have a lot more to go. But the issue here is that we have another dynamic, which is a lack of faith in the US dollar.
Yeah.
And if we have that lack of faith, let's go into Bitcoin now, and because something's happened now, and I think if something happens once, it's something to take note of. But if something happens again, it becomes a pattern. Like when we're looking to draw a trend line, we're looking at 2 points. If we can draw 2 points, we're establishing a pattern. So one thing I want to draw attention to is that when we had the last bad fall out, and we had that last sort of beautiful pump from BTC, that was due to a banking crisis. Now,
lack of faith in the dollar.
a lack of faith in the dollar. And now we're getting another one. So this is twice. So if we go on a 4 hour, will give you a lot more. Sorry, we're seeing exactly that again. And sorry, it's a 5-minute chart. So you can see, look at the way we fell was hard, almost a very clean, very strong bearish candle there. And since breaking that on a few days ago, we've had huge buying up liquidity where we've reached the same zone. We seem to be consolidating back in this triangle that we formed on the daily time frame.
Yeah.
And as I said, we're moving into this period where a breakout zone, and that's on very conveniently on the same day as when the Fed's announcing their information. So I am expecting possibly a huge breakout on BTC, and I am bullish.
It's like the inverse technicals to the Dixie there, isn't it? You see that little squeeze at that importance area.
We've had a lot of decoupling from BTC and S&P in the last few months, and we're now actually starting to see BTC respond the way everyone's imagined it to respond. And I think the narrative is possibly there for a digital gold now. I don't think it was there before when people were chanting it through the pandemic, etc. I think right now where we have this, I guess, lack of faith in the dollar and within currencies, we are seeing this huge movement into BTC. And this is also very in line. Like I think as of a few hours ago, we're now 1 year away from the next halving cycle. And historically, we always move bullish into these halving cycles and we reach all-time highs. So I think we are now into very bullish territory in BTC. And I think, and I did say it back then, that BTC's bottom was more likely in. We did have our major downsides, but fair value of 60 or a low of just under 15.5K. And now moving into the halving cycle territory, I think we're primed for a breakout. I do still think we'll see some lower price levels. So I did mention that there's a price gap here around 36K. Let me actually pull up a CME chart here for you. As you can see, we've got this price gap here that was formed at 20K and that hasn't been filled. We have these CME gaps, 35.5K. This CME gap was filled more recently on this last bullish cycle. We had a gap that was created here that was filled at the same time. So 35 to 36K is a bit of a magnet. It's also fair value for BTC miners. So I don't believe the opportunity is there, I would say, for us to test these levels again at 20K to fill this gap. There's, I would say, more historical evidence for CME gaps being filled on the BTC chart than typical price gaps. And even if we've seen it and we've noted it a few times where you get these sharp, heavy candle movements full of volume to fill gaps and almost immediate wick downs from those levels. So people are trading these CME gaps. And they work out that like this 20K level, like we had CME gaps that were created in the last bull cycle after March 2020, and they've only really been filled this year, especially those lower ones that were under 20K that we noted before.
It's that 35,570 CME gap. Is that also the area that confirms the bearish breakdown? The bearish, obviously confirms the bearish trend.
The kind of key level. Yeah. So on the key level here, I actually determined that a clear break and support retest of the 36K level will signal a very confident bull market. But also worth noting, let me go back to my previous chart.
To make sure on your other chart, you've got around the 36.59 area, no breakdown. So obviously that CME gap sits around there, so price could potentially come up, tap that, fill that CME gap, confirm the breakdown of that on the higher time frame, and pull back into that range. Yeah. We're still, like you say, we're starting to look bullish through the lower time frames, but still on the weekly, we could potentially be coming up to confirm that breakdown.
Exactly, and that's the narrative. That's the story. And that's that is actually the exact bias that I believe in. I believe that this will be a magnet level. I believe we'll still retest to fill the CME gap. And then we are into bullish territory. We need to have organic, clean movements. And what the market's doing right now is neither organic or clean, or what the Fed is doing. So we've had this confirmation here. We had following that bearish engulfing. Is that Marabuzo? Kev, is that a Marabuzo candle?
Not quite a Marabuzo.
But even this candle, like we haven't managed to make a new high there. We've actually we haven't broken the neckline, but we've come close. Slight tests. And once again, like even this breakout from this key level at 24K, there's no breakout confirmation there.
That's the thing, is when it moves, doesn't it? Same with the likes of gold, and that much volume comes in, it leaves a lot of gaps all the time. So you've still got them gaps down at 7K, 8K, and that happening, but they could be reserved for the Black Swan event.
And on the daily, like we've got a bearish story here. We've got a lower high, we've got a lower low, broken the last low. So
the wicks on that doji candle as well.
Which one?
Before it come up back up above the trend line to the right. Like,
yeah. Oh,
that big indecision.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Yeah, that's very indecisive.
It's a lot of volume in that one candle.
So what I'd like to see is, like, we've got a bit of a symmetrical triangle formation here. Baby one. But we would like to see us break down from here, from this level, not make a higher high, and see this low here and this hopefully broken. But as you can see, like, there's very little. We'll probably see ourselves at about this level. 25K is the key level here, where we'll see our next low. And I think this might be quite a drastic move. I think inflation personally will come in higher, and this is the move we'll see.
We should pull back on BTC.
Yeah. But you can see, like, we've got some clear trend there on the daily of a
lot of confidence in Bitcoin at the minute. They say it's with the macro environment that we're in now. It's given it a time to shine. It's not just hearsay. It's not just talk. It's not just the Bitcoin miners talk and the Bitcoin maxis. It's clear as day now. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against it. It is the digital gold at the minute, isn't it?
It is, and it's actually telling that story a lot better than it ever has.
Yeah, it's been given.
I think even with the whole thing with CBDCs is still going to help crypto in general, because as we move into digital cash, it's going to give that on and off ramp to cryptocurrencies still. It's going to make it easier for people to buy and hold different cryptos. So I think even as there's a lot of negatives to CBDCs, I think we're going to see the crypto industry kind of boom a lot from kind of fear. People don't want to hold these CBDCs. They prefer to have other decentralized assets. But also, obviously, the accessibility to them is increasing every day. We're getting more and more apps that can enable people to buy and hold crypto in different forms. So I think now it's an interesting time. Do you want me to pull up an XRP chart? I've done some analysis before.
Yeah, go on.
In the break.
And we'll do ETH after.
You get a coffee, please? You have a coffee, please?
Yes.
Oh,
Jeff just chanting orders to his slaves.
What? Oh, can you hear me? What's that? Did you hear me then? Yeah, I thought you were like, sorry.
Mine doesn't talk.
These are good.
Can we see this here? So there you can see I've had this monthly trend line for a while. You can see we've broke out of that the past couple of weeks now. There's been a lot of positive fundamentals around XRP at the moment with the lawsuits and the ODL platform. We've also seen like a big increase in volume on the network. I think a lot of it's due to the NFTs, native NFTs that have been released. And even as bad as the NFT movement's been across the whole board in crypto, Ripple have shared some really positive results. I think I put the Q1 report in the group a couple of days ago. And obviously we've seen a big increase in demand and use of XRP, especially a lot of whales alerts coming through, big accumulations and movements. So I think that's where we're seeing a lot of volume there. So if you look down on the daily, we're at a really good level at the moment. So we're currently trading below the weekly high. This is the previous week. You can see here it's using it as a bit of a resistance. But it's held that level around 0.4. Is it 0.44? 4, yeah, all the 4s. It's a good number for me though. But yeah, so we see a bit of a breakdown there. We looked at the move before on Bitcoin. The whole market went down, but we've seen a lot of recovery. So this candle here, that was a lot of fundamentals around the lawsuit. There was a ruling in New York that had some impact. But as we've come up and we've tested that high here of around 0.58, we had a strong rejection there. A lot of sellers stepped in. But I'm looking for the break of this weekly high. So I'm kind of looking for it to come up, test this area. Oh, hang on. Quick tails have disappeared.
It looks like we could possibly see some ranging then.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm expecting a bit of a news in the next week or two.
Is Ripple's price action, or have you found that Ripple's price action is very dependent on news and little about TA?
I wouldn't say so, no. So there is a lot. You can actually trade Ripple on a lot of brokers. It's one of a few cryptos, obviously including Bitcoin and Ethereum. It is tradable. So I think there is a lot of TA going on here. Where do I find my poly tool?
Where's your favorite slot?
They've disappeared on this for some reason. I'm on my PC and I've got it on my Mac as well.
You can tell it's wide screen on my screen as well.
Yeah, this is wide. It's green.
Yeah, it's squash style. It's mad.
Let me shift this out.
Oh, no, it's squashed inwards. Oh, there you go.
That's better.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
clean.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah, but I'll just give you I don't know, on the politics, I'm going to say. But yeah, I'm expecting it to break up to this area, test this 0.58 level again, come back down and looking for a retest of this weekly high, acting as support. And then I'm quite bullish on this. We talked about the gaps in Bitcoin before. We've got quite a lot here. I think it's a similar with a lot of crypto.
Can you go back to that previous time frame?
Yep. Zoom out.
Yeah, there you go. And then zoom into here, onto that little segment. One thing I'm just seeing there is that like we've broken out, we've failed to break back above that weekly high, and there looks to be very little volume. So I'm possibly, I would say that we're going to retest the lower level more at 0.39 before going back up.
Yeah, big green here, that big bullish move.
Yeah, so you've got a price gap there, so you can see that. That is a possibility. I think we're going to see that area at some point, but maybe
Just the red
obviously,
doji there, like it's telling me, or the way I'm interpreting it is that we're facing a rejection of that weekly high. We've got a weekly close today as well. So
yeah,
if we don't close above there, I see it go into point, was that the yellow line that you've marked there, or even just above, sorry, the next range.
yeah. So this one's highlighted yellow. This is a really key area there, so you can see we've had a lot of movement in the past around here, a lot of rejection, support. We've broke through that area, come back down and smashed through it, acting as rejection again here.
What was
So
the
yeah,
monthly candle chatting on there on XRP, Michael? The monthly closure today. Or
so
was the
that
monthly?
it's still not. I'm still quite bullish on this. So we've had it hasn't had enough volume to be. We've had kind of a lot of rejection here. This was the price move, I think, in the past couple of weeks brought that up. But I think as long as it closes above this level here, it could continue that bullish momentum, waiting for that retest. But yeah, I think with those areas, my two scenarios for this would be, as you mentioned there, we're going to see a retest of this area before the next move up, or we could have a breakout. A good fundamental could push the price up, and then we're retesting this area and upwards. But we've got a lot of gaps here to fill. So once we see these 0.58 areas break, we're going up. The next level here around 66 cents. And then obviously we could see that pushing $1 within, I think we could see this lawsuits, especially within this month. I think May is going to be a big month. I've said for a long time, I could see it being May. May go on a little bit over now, but I think within the next 2 months, we're going to see at least a decision. But then obviously you've got the whole appeals process. But within that decision, I think regardless of TA, we've seen the price move, especially in the last bull cycle here. We've had these huge candles, a lot of liquidity come into the crypto market in 2021. I think regardless of what we're seeing across the board now in the whole industry, we could see similar moves to this with a positive lawsuit.
Like
You've
this, like when did this sort of downtrend start on the weekly time frame? What month is that? Is that the June? So that's when the case and everything started.
Yeah, so this is 2021, around this area, you had a massive sell-off.
Just this year alone, I think I saw an article yesterday. It was around 330 to 340 million that Ripple sold off of XRP this Q1.
You mean sold to buyers?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's been a massive increase, and that's the thing that a lot of XRP tokens are held by Ripple themselves. So when we see large sell-offs in the crypto space, it doesn't really impact Ripple as much because obviously their main stakeholders, XRP, the main stakeholders are Ripple. So Ripple and XRP are completely separate entities. Yep. Ripple uses XRP to power its products on the Ripple network. So they act as a separate entity, but actually Ripple itself holds the majority of XRP tokens. And I won't go too much into that now, but there's a reason for that. And a lot of them are locked up in escrow accounts to be released slowly over time. So they actually do control the price, which is needed for this particular utility. But yeah, I think with this, we've got a lot of catalysts in the market. We've got potential Coinbase relisting. There's still a lot of assets locked up in America, so we'll see then assets released and then obviously move back onto exchanges where we'll see a lot of movement. The on-demand liquidity, as shown in the report, it's picked up a lot of traction, especially within last year, and this year has been really positive growth in the first quarter already. So obviously with the judges ruling in a positive light for XRP, I think we could see similar volumes here before we have a massive sell-off. Now, I'd be expecting it to reach this all-time high area. Sorry, the more recent $2 to test this before we see a breakdown. But then obviously we've still got these last areas that have never been matched. I think due to the ongoing lawsuit, Ripple hasn't really seen the benefits of the last cycle here. It just didn't manage to even get anywhere near its all-time high. But I think the next level to get tested is this $2 level. It's obviously we've had strong rejection there as well. But I'm saying, I'll put it here, my prediction, XRP lawsuit is between, I'd say, I'll go as $5 and $10, I think, here. Between these areas.
Get them bags in.
I kind of see this. I see.
Gets me all excited, this one with XRP.
No, I think realistically, I think $5, it's easily achievable. It's not too ambitious. There's enough sentiment in the market to push it to that. And this is all in
Don't you think though, like there's too many barriers in the way of price just rocketing up to $5? So obviously with all the, you've got to, like you say, you mentioned the $2, the $3.50. Don't you see a lot of TPs being set up there already? You know what I'm saying?
So it's not going to be a clean move, and it's something like I'll be looking for exits all the way through this. I'm not holding to the top. Yeah. We're going to see massive. We've had some long-term holders. A lot of XRP army are in at these levels. They've been holding from 2015 onwards. I think as soon as we see, especially breaks, there would have been a lot of people wishing that they sold up here, not seeing that this was going to happen. But I don't see it as a negative at all. I think obviously this is set. This could be the kind of legislation being written in the moment in the US, could be through this lawsuit. It's been extremely long time. We don't really see SEC cases go on this long. We could see it go on another year. I don't think it's impossible that we could see this stretched out. SEC are pulling all sorts of rabbits out the hat at the moment. But yeah, I think it's
what's
not
the date for closing? Or wasn't there something you said this week that gave another estimation on when this was all coming to a close?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things out there at the moment, but there's still a lot of uncertainties now. Even with a judge's ruling, there's always the appeals process and everything. As long it's got to be by fact or law. I'm sure the SEC can pull something out, but they can challenge the judge's ruling. So even though there'll be a small pump, there'll be a lot of big investors that are holding back for that final closure. And we don't really know what's going to happen. I think it's looking very positive for Ripple, but it's not guaranteed. We could see something come out that completely flips it on its head.
Does Gary Gensler being removed, does that take a big effect into court cases?
I think at this point it doesn't really matter so much. You've got a couple of things that I think are big things to look at is this, like the Howey test. All points of the Howey test haven't been met, and it can't be purely by the fact there's no mention of digital assets. It's a new technology. It's not currently falling under that law. Now, we could argue it's a security, yeah, but if XRP is a security, the whole of crypto, there's no difference between the way Ripple was set up and the way Ethereum was set up. So I think that's the big argument here. Like Ethereum got green lighted by the SEC at the same time as Ripple got put into a lawsuit.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the corruption's been exposed there, and obviously with a positive result here, and if the judge actually classes XRP as a cryptocurrency, which the rest of the world does, there's only the US that has a problem with this, then I think that's going to be a really unprecedented volume here, because that's where I'm looking as high as those levels.
Have a look at put a line, see that double bottom on that weekly there. The price coming up to retest, I see that double bottom around.
You looking here?
Yeah, around there, bro. It's a nice area there.
Yeah, so you can see that's where we've had that rejection at that area.
Yeah, it's in line, isn't it?
Once we see this, and we see, I'm expecting, sort of called out before, we'll tap this, come back down to test the weekly high. If we break that, going downwards, I think this is where we'll then tap the 0.39 level. But obviously a nice clean break through this area and a nice retest. we could be going up here as much as like just under $1.
Yeah, we've got very little structure around that area.
Yeah, I think it's a nice clean move up here to test. We've got a lot of rejection here, support, really strong wick here as well from that price coming down. That it was rejected at that area again. So that's a really key area for XRP, is this kind of 90-91 cent range. But yeah, I can see once we break this 0.57, that's been holding for a while. This is a nice clean move up here. Nice few pips to catch if you're trading it. But my game plan for this is just to hold to the SEC settlement.
So I might load up with 39, 39.
Fill your
Bags,
fill your bags. Was that good? I've been practicing.
Right, time to turn into a scout bit. Get them scouts next time.
Quickly die. I might get a fake
yeah.
dad.
But I'll just pull up and just quickly go through this. We've had a lot of bullish movements here on GU. Nice structure point break there. So on this daily structure point's been broken by this is the last candle, which is Friday. I think we had some fundamentals there as well. So that's where I stayed out the market Friday, to be honest. But very bullish on GU at the moment. Nice, clean weekly structure there. Testing this area at the moment, and I still think we've got a bit of a push before we have a pullback to the kind of 1.26 area. We're going to see a bit of retracement here. But as you can see there, those previous weekly exhaustions here on the weeklies, we've smashed through that here. Nice bullish fundamentals, nice clean price action there. So yeah, looking on the 4 hour there, we've got that nice bullish momentum here. So we've had a bit of sideways movement for a couple of weeks. I think that's just been invalidated here by this volume kicking in. So yeah, I'm looking for entry position.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Is that a Mariposa?
He's going to keep plugging that in.
Yeah, is it?
I'm gonna find a new word for one.
I'm going to call it.
There's got to be other words for Mariposa.
This is more of a church candle list, so it's not quite a Mariposa. I've got a nice word, but it's like a church candle.
When you messaged me that, mate, I was in the hotel room, mate. I was like, right, I've got a list of this, listen back to it, mate. Fucking pair of us, we're pissing ourselves. Like, I don't know how I've done that, mate, the last 6 or 7 times.
It's my favorite word.
Yeah, so still very bullish here. Wouldn't be.
It actually looks like we've got confirmation there of that closure above
area,
that. Yeah.
So if we have that closure in the 4 hour here, it could continue that momentum, but it's not. I wouldn't put that down as a high probability. I'd be looking more around a retest to this 125 area. Just got 1, 2.
And that would be, I would say that would be healthy. I would say it would also be in line with fundamentals as well. If we expect more dollar strength, inflation to come in higher, then I would expect that pound there to drop to that level, and that would be a healthy, clean support as well. This church candle's it's not organic enough for me. And
yeah,
Forex is very organic growth. Like you can see it, like we break, we retest, we break, we retest.
The end of the month as well, with it being a 4 hour candle at the end of the month, it's a lot of profit taking from big institutions. So obviously that's like one of the last 4 hour candles of the month, you know what I mean? So you do see a lot of institutions taking profits.
Yeah, there's patterns with that. There's even retail traders, like retail day traders who are taking profit on a monthly basis. Like they'll all take it on that day.
If you look at these round psychological numbers here, it really plays off nicely. GU, so we've seen sell-offs here, the 125 level. It's really acting as resistance here. And then obviously this is broke through those areas. So you've got the 125, the 124. We're retesting at this weekly high level at the moment, but it's also quite a structure point there as well. But yeah, I think that I wouldn't be looking to longer at the moment. I'd be waiting for the open of this week. We've got bank holiday tomorrow, but UK bank holiday. But I'd be looking kind of at these areas to take trades off. So if we see a nice bounce on the 124 level, then that'd confirm me bullish trend. I'd be looking to enter longs at this position.
Yeah, that bank holiday, I would say, is also very much in line with the narrative of retesting that level.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say this. I'd be looking for more high probability longs at the 125 level. So with this price movement, we've got a few gaps here in this area as well. Maybe I might be wrong. I might be on a different tab. That's why it's not bringing up my favorite. But yeah, so this price area, but we've got a nice gap here. So this could act almost as a magnet at the 125. I'd say high probabilities at that area. Bit more of aggressive entry here, but just keep an eye on the price action at the time. See where we're looking. But yeah, bullish on GU at the moment. The key areas on mark them in the group as well. Yeah, do you want to go into ETH, Adam?
Yeah, I was going to ETH. We'll mix it up today, huh?
Oh yeah.
Throw that in there. All right. ETH's interesting. I think ETH's very interesting, actually. Obviously, since the Shanghai upgrade, people being able to unlock their ETH that's been staked. And one thing that came out last week was we finally crossed a threshold where the amount of ETH being staked surpassed that of being withdrawn from the stake. So I think that shows a lot of confidence behind ETH. I think anyone has been holding ETH, it's providing a utility for the token. So from that perspective, I can see why there's been an increase in that stake, but the confidence is seemingly there. We can see we're just like with BTC, where we're following a similar chart pattern. We had that downward trend, as you can see on BTC here. Let me just zoom in for you. Similar kind of chart pattern, didn't get as much buying volume afterwards. So we are trading across that below that level of 2K. We failed to get the confirmation of the breakout on both breakouts, actually. So last call, we spoke about the 1945 level. We also spoke about the psychological level of 2K. So we haven't managed to get either confirmation. And I would say there's a lot more dominance in BTC right now. I'll put up a dominance chart to show you as well. But the ETH still is in this, and you can see it's testing those previous highs, from the beginning of the bear market. And for us to break that previous high, I think is a good sign. What we're really doing now is pulling back, looking for more volume. And I do believe that ETH will break above and secure a position above 2K, if not next week or the week after. On the lower time frame, actually, we'll go to a weekly time frame just so we can evaluate there. You can see we have made higher highs. We're continuously making higher lows as well. So we are in this trend. But once again, if we go back to the same thinking that we've got behind BTC of these breakout confirmations, that's exactly the same pattern there. So to get a confirmation of that breakout, it still exists. And we haven't had confirmations around this level as well, at the 2.3K level. So it mirrors a BTC chart more or less exactly. I don't personally believe the Shanghai upgrades had too much of an impact on the technical aspect. Obviously, from fundamentally giving those that have been holding ETH utility. And I guess it's a good transition for ETH. I haven't looked into the voting mechanisms behind ETH enough, but from a lot of these proof of stake coins, like you've seen the mesh, I'm structuring as a proof of work because I don't truly believe, unless you were to structure the staking, it just becomes a whales game. It's the more coins you've got, the more power you've got over the network. That's from that perspective, it's still not decentralized. The only aspect of decentralization is it's a free market, that whoever's got the more money can own the network. So I would say that's ETH. Do you want to do a GJ?
Yeah. You see that?
Yep. Oh yeah, gold.
Let's see the first.
Do GJ and we'll do gold after.
Wait till base. Monthly closure.
Cool.
Big bullish move on GJ last week. In monthly closure above these previous highs. Also closing above that weekly supply and demand area. Very big bullish move on GJ. Bullish structure on into the weekly. Once again, another good closure on the weekly for GJ. See prices making a nice clean bullish structure. And we're back retesting those areas, but we've not retested this weekly structure point or any of these areas. We've literally just ripped up over the last. I mean, it looked like price has been very choppy on GJ, but we've seen a lot of wicks to the upside, a lot of wicks to the downside. But now that we've broken this area, 167. So yeah, 167 has been acting as an important area of support, resistance, sorry. Yeah, a lot of resistance once at this 167 area. We've got resistance, a lot of choppy price action around that 167 area. Obviously that area is an important area of value. We've now, price was last week, we were saying we were closed below that 167 area with a wick to the upside, suggesting that the sellers were pushing price below 167. Prices opened up, retested the around 165, 500 area, which goes down to the daily. 165, 500. Yes, we've had this area it's been acting as support. A lot of choppy price action in this area. A lot of choppy price action, but as you can see on the daily, once we did break through this double top area, so we've got on the daily here, we've got this double top. This double top area, which also is a daily structure point. So this is a daily structure point, which price was finding resistance at this structure point. Pulled back, grab liquidity from this area, which is our weekly supply and demand area. Price is maintained, as you can see off these wicks. This is a very important area of support. Sorry. So we've been ranging between these two areas. Now that GJ's managed to break above these two highs, so we broke above this double top, which is also the daily structure point, and this area of consolidation, we've absolutely ripped through. Price didn't really come back and retest it on the lower time frames, giving us an entry candle on that one. So it literally moved. It moved 100 pips in 15 minutes. So as you can see, there was not much of an entry candle on that unless you took an aggressive position once we broke that daily structure point. But yeah, very big bullish move on GJ's. Go down to 4 hour.
Beautiful volume candle.
Yeah, it's like you say, that we started run out here once we approached on Friday. Once again, it was the end of the month closure, so a lot of big institutions start taking profits, and we do see some moves like this. But once price is broken above that double top area that we mentioned, we can see the momentum came in. we had a little bit of resistance established at 168,800 area, which is a daily area, daily supply and demand area. But a little bit of resistance, price closed below, and then absolutely ripped through.
It could have
It's
been a Mariposa.
almost, but like you can see, yeah, price is starting to slow down over the last 4 hours of trading for that week. We've slowed down. That bullish momentum's running out, so we could possibly see. We haven't managed to close above this area here, so price is maintaining below this structure point. So we could see with GJ, like say, if you just look at all those wicks, this is on a weekly time frame. If you just look at all the weeks previous, GJ tends to be very choppy until we see these big breakouts. We look on the daily. I'd be expecting price to pull back, and then we'll see if we can establish support in any of these areas. So 168,800 area, which is around the price established resistance and support. It's a decent area to be looking to take trades off. So we've seen prices establish resistance and support along there. So now we can look and we can expect price to either pull back into this range, which we've just obviously shown that it's an important area of support and resistance. So we could see price pull back, establish support here, and then move to the upside, or we could see price pull back. This is what I'd be wanting to see. I'd want to see price pull back into this range, which is that it's the double top area, it's the daily support, daily structure point area, and it's also that supply and demand zone on the daily. So I'd like to see price fully pull back, retest this area, establish support at this daily structure point, this area of consolidation, and also this area of supply and demand. Could potentially pull inside this area and tap the 167 area, and then continue bullish. So that's what I'll be waiting for on GJ this weekend. We could potentially open up and establish support at the 170 area, which is an important area on the weekly. Yes, we could see price establish support around 170. So it's just about waiting. I'd be very cautious to be taking trades around the 170 area because obviously the gap's below. So we've prices left us a lot of gaps. So I'd say I'll be waiting for 167,600 area around here the retest price to establish support and then take longs. If we do get the daily structure point retest, then we've got a potential move of 347 pips to retouch this previous high. So that is looking like a good trade to take. So obviously adapt and react. Wait to see what happens when we get open tomorrow. Well, yeah, I'd like to see price pull back into that 167,700 area to take longs. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm seeing on GJ. Jump into gold.
Yeah.
What's the gold? Gold's been very choppy this week. See, we've broken above this area where we've been. You see these big wicks, obviously around the 2,000 mark that we've been mentioning. Prices previously in the last few months, it's pulled up, broken above the 2K area, and then absolutely ripped back inside it, leaving us these big wicks on the monthly. However, this month we've managed to maintain above this area, which is the 1960 area. We've managed to maintain price above here, but we do have this big wick to the upside, which is suggesting that sellers are starting to come in and take control. So yeah, big wick to the upside. That's looking like a buyer's momentum slowing down. So if we go down into the weekly, we look in the weekly. Once again, we've got this big candle here that I'm not too sure of the name of it. But pull all the way up and broke above the 1960 area.
What's that candle?
We've had, you can say it in the scope, please.
That a Mariposa candle. That's awful. What is that?
Well, I was blind.
Standard Welsh.
Oh, no, it's,
Well,
oh, I gotta practice that.
yeah. But price is maintaining. We got this trend line, which was a bullish flag pattern, which is now broken below, and we've got got confirmation of that breakdown below that trend line, which is our bullish flag pattern. So on the weekly, as you can see, we've got weekly structure. So got our weekly structure points. Yeah. Got a weekly structure point there, and we've got a weekly structure point up here now. So we could expect price to, as you see, price is broken above this weekly structure point, come back for a retest, left us a big wick, pulled back up, pushed up to the upside to break above the 2K, but pulled back inside, leaving us an indecision doji. Then we come down, we've broken below this trend line to retest this weekly structure point. Price is broken through. It's maintained this bottom low, so we're looking like a complex pullback. So now the price is pulled up this inside this weekly range. So we've got this weekly structure point, we've got this weekly structure point, and it looks like price is trading within that range. So it's just managed to, you can see the indecision in those wicks. This is a daily chart, and you can see the last couple of days we've had a lot of indecision on gold. Previous week has closed out just above that weekly structure point that we mentioned. So we've got this weekly structure point here. Price has managed to close above it, sorry. So it's broken through, left us a big wick, and then it's closed above it. And then we've got this weekly structure point up here to keep an eye on. So we could see potential range on gold between these two areas here, obviously, which will fall in line with our predictions on sideways movements on the Dixie. And obviously we have fundamentals coming out this week. So this area that we've got marked in blue was where we were consolidating on the 4-hour range, but we started to break below this weekly structure point. And as you can see, price is trading. It's trading either side of that structure point. So gold's very choppy at the minute. I wouldn't like to be taking trades right now on it. I'll be waiting for, let's have a look. Yeah, as you can see, gold very choppy at the minute. I'd like to see these areas break, which is that weekly structure point. So I'd like to see those. Let me just have a look down to the 4-hour. Yeah, as we see that the weekly structure point to 2K, that's the area that we've marked as our consolidation. So the sellers can't bring gold down. We're maintaining above that weekly structure point, but the buyers can't break through the 2K point. So as you can see here, got that 2K area, got all those wicks to the upside, and then we've got that weekly structure point, which price is barely maintaining at the minute. So we could see potentially all this.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the structure here at all.
No, it's messy, very choppy. I'm wanting to see potentially this area. We've got this area here around 1880. It's just at the minute, I don't really see gold for healthy structure. Gold needs to start. Obviously, we're up here. Gold needs to start pulling back to fill in these gaps, potentially all the way back to this area, which has been acting as strong daily resistance there. And then price rip through, come back down, rip through it again. But gold it is due a retracement, but with what's happening in the world at the minute and with the US dollar, I just don't think that we're going to see the retracement all up. Maybe not down to this area, but I'll be waiting to see, because obviously we've got a monthly structure point here as well. So I'd like to see price at least retrace down to this area to give us some sort of.
Well, I think that would be a
looks
good
lot
level to be
healthier.
taking anything up if you can get to a structure point and allow structure to form.
Yeah, because we've got that monthly structure, which would be nice if we retested that. Also, it's a bit of a double top area on the monthly. So if we had price retest that, grab liquidity, which is also on the weekly, it's a weekly structure point. So we've got your monthly structure point falls in line, weekly structure point falls in line, We'll look on the daily. So on the daily, we've got a daily structure point around this area, but you see when we had that candle, it ripped above, it's come down, retested that area, but we could potentially see 1930 area, 1927 to 1934, or somewhere around that area be retested. But you can just see looking off previous price action, just how choppy gold's been. Once it's like what we're seeing with Ethereum around that 2K mark. It's such an important area of value on gold at the minute that we are going to see a lot of sideways price action. And then when we do see these areas break and confirm, then we're going to see massive moves to the upside on gold.
Price discovery. I've got to go, guys.
Yeah, cool, man. Happy birthday. Enjoy the rest of your birthday, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Take
Happy
care.
birthday, bro. Take care.
Take it easy, guys.